Hey everyone, welcome back to Smart Contract Labs. So in today's video, we are gonna talk about we're gonna design a smart contract based on crowdfunding campaign. So let's talk about what is crowdfunding campaign and how we are gonna design a smart contract using Remix IDE. So what is crowdfunding? So, crowdfunding is a method of raising funds for a project or for a cause by collecting small amounts of money from a large number of people, maybe through internet, online, or other means. So, it allows individuals, business, or organization to reach out to a wide audience, often through dedicated platforms or website to make the contribution or the investments, right? So there are several types of crowdfunding platform. Some are called as donation based crowdfunding, in which participants donate money to support a cause, right? There is no expectation of the profit or anything in return. And other than this, we have a reward-based crowdfunding in which investor contribute funds in exchange for the rewards or incentives offered by the project, right? And we can have or more crowdfunding campaign like equity based, in which investor invest in your startup or in your company or your business in exchange of ownership stakes in the company. So like this, we have many example in where we can use the crowdfunding or we can create the crowdfunding campaign to have investors or to have persons to invest in your project for a cause or in your business, startups, and so on. So let's decide that how we can design a smart contract based on it. So it just a contract between or agreement between the users and the creator. That means the creators are owner of a project, startup, business, organizations, and users are the investors who can invest in your project or business, right? So there should be a contract between these two when we talk about the crowdfunding campaign. So here we have two entities. One is your creator and second one is your users. So creators are responsible, that means who creates the campaign, who creates or who initialize the goal that this much amount of yeah, this much amount we are looking forward to from the investor. So once it is reached, we close this campaign and work on the project, right? So here the creator decide the deadline of the campaign as well as the contribution, the total contribution they want to achieve using this campaign, right? Next, after they have achieved the contribution they are looking for, they can withdraw the funds, and at the end they can close the campaign, right? And other than we have users, so users can contribute the ethers, because we are going to work on smart contracts, so you can contribute ethers as an investor as an investment in this campaign. And you can also check the getContractBalance, because in this we are just creating a donation based crowdfunding in which the participants can only donate money to support a cause or the project without expecting anything in return. Right. So let's open Remix ID and work on this. So we have total how many functions? There are total 4 functions. The 2 functions specifically is for the creator and 1 function specifically for users. And this is a generalized method, get contract balance, and that allows anyone to check the current balance of the contract, right? So let's do the coding part. So just search Remix. It's taking, my internet is slow today, I guess. Very slow. Oh, it is open now. So this is a dashboard of this Remix IDE. So what we'll do, we will do the same. We'll go our folder that is Smart Contract Lab and create one file, new file, and name it as crowdfunding. So this is how it's gonna work, right? So it the file I have created this file, already file. Now just we need the two specification. You just click on the any other document that you have in this project and just copy the first two lines that specify your license identifier as well as your compiler version. So here we have a compiler version of 0.8.24, right? So these two information is local to each solidity file. So we have to write it down in each code, right? So our first, let me zoom it a bit, right? Now, next, just create a contract. Now just create a contract. So here, keyword is contract, right? And the name of the contract is crowdfunding. So write it down as, sorry, crowdfunding, and this is the scope of this contract, right? Next, so we always follow this structure. First, we declare variables. Second, we define what are the different condition constraints we need to apply on different functions. And third, we initialize this contract or the variables of this contract by using the constructor. And then we will work on the functions. So let's do this one by one. So first, declare all the variables. As you can see, how many entities you have. You have one creator and the multiple users. So for that, you have to use which data type? Address data type, right? So just use address data type and make it this variable as public and the name of this variable as creator, right? And next is the address of the contribute because you need multiple users, so that's why you have to use certain thing to store the contributors details, right? So for that I'm using the mapping because each contributor donates something, so we have to store both the information, the address of that investor along with the amount he has contributed, right? So that's why it is better to take this mapping that store the value in the form of key value. So first is your key is the address of your contributor, and next is the contribution they are making, the investment they are doing, right? So you can use uint as, right? Make it as public, and then and contributions. I'm taking this variable name as contributions, right? So how much contributions each user is making, we are storing it in the form of mapping, key value pair, right? Now we need the variable that defines the goal of this crowdfunding. That means if the goal of this project is to make it's to make a contribution up to the $10,000, right? So we have to specify that in the goal. Next, similarly, we have a deadline in terms of the number of days, number of weeks you are open to open for this campaign, right? So deadline. Next, to store the number of total contribution we have made till now. So total contributions, right? And next, we need some Boolean variables to check if the funding goal is reached or not, deadline is over or not, right? For checking that you can only withdraw funds, right? Here I told you that you can withdraw the funds once the goal is reached. So this information we can store in the form of Boolean variables. Similarly, for the close campaign as well. So we need certain variables to store the true and false value. So first one should be your is funding goal reached, like this, right? And next is deadline, is campaign closed, like this. So these are the two variables we need. So I'm just making it to, right? Next, So this is our first task. The first task is over. We always think about we always think of the variables we need for the different to declare different functions. So I guess this much amount of variables we need, and later on if I miss something, then I'll declare later on. And then let's work on the modifiers. So modifiers usually impose restriction on a particular function, that this function will be executed when this condition is met, right? So in this way we can create modifier in this. So here the modifier is one for only creator. So only creator can call all both these function, withdraw function, campaign function. And there are certain functions to be executed when the campaign is in active state, right? Investors can only contribute in this campaign when it is active state or deadline is not over, right? For that we need certain modifiers. So first modifier is your only creator, right? And then, so we need a require statement here. So requirement statement is same. Message or sender is your global variable that store the address of the owner who is going to deploy this project, right? And that address will be will get automatically stored in this message or sender global parameter. And here, if it is equal to the creator, right, then it's fine. That means it's you can good to go to execute the rest of the function. Otherwise, you just need to display the error message. Only the creator can call this function like this, right? Huh. So this done. And we always add a modifier with underscore sign because we always create modifiers to restrict the function execution or because it depends on the certain condition. So this underscore will replace rest of the statement of this function, right? Next, we have modifiers to check whether your it's still open or not. Your campaign is still open or not. Only when open, right? And in this, you need we use this two global Boolean variables to check whether it is open or not. So we have two conditions. First, we check is campaign closed. It's is it's campaign closed, right? If it is it's if it is true, that means is closed. To display this message as campaign is closed like this. And next statement is to check the deadline. So for checking the deadline, we always compare it with a global variable called as block.timestamp. That is the current time stamp of the block, right? If it is less than or equal to the deadline, that means it is still open. If it is not, then we have to display an error message like this: campaign deadline has passed, right? And this modifier. So this is how you are gonna check whether the campaign is still in active state or not, right? Next, the initialization part. So we always use the constructor. Either you can use the parameterized constructor or the without parameters, depends on your um it totally depends on you, right? And just I need parameterized constructor to set the certain variables by taking them during the deployment of this smart contract. First one is your goal, right? And second one, deadline in days, right? Right. So goal I already took, so use underscore here. So just initialize all this variable. So first one, initialize the creator, right? I'm initializing them one by one. So first one is creator. So first one is your creator. So creator is equal to the message.sender. And the goal is your variable. It should be equal to the local variable values, and because goal should be in the form of currency, so that's why we are going to convert it into the way that is the currency, one of the currency in this, right? 1 ether, and this is how you can convert, because 1 ether is equal to 10 raised to power 18 way, right? Next is your deadline. So deadline we always refers to as a block by referring it as a current timestamp. So current timestamp is block.timestamp. And here, because we are dealing with number of days, just convert the this variable by multiplying it in 1 days, like this. 1 days. This is how you can convert it into the days, right? And then we have two variables boolean, so make it initialize them with false. And is funding reach, it is false now. Initially it is both are false, right? So I guess we have done till now. So we have completed first three steps, the initial steps, and all steps are very important in this. So first step is to declare variables, the number of variables you need for to define, to declare, to store certain, to store the address of the users, of the participant owners, and then the variables you need to declare or to define the functionality, different functionalities. And then we need the modifiers to import certain restrictions on the function of execution. And then we need a constructor to initialize your state variables, right? Now it's the time to work on the function. So first function is your contribute function, right? And here this function will be public. And because this contribute function means in this function, the users can access this function to contribute the ethers or a certain amount in this campaign, right? So it should be the payable. Whenever certain transactions or transfer of amount or certain value is there, so we have to keep that variable as function as payable, right? And you can the only contribute users can only contribute in this when this it is in the active state. That means the deadline we have, deadline is not over yet, and still and you have not reached the contribution amount, the goal you have maintained, you have decided, right? Now, and only when open. So I'm using this modifier here, right? And just define the scope. And here, because you are making certain contributions, so that amount should be greater than the 0, otherwise this function will not execute, right? So we need a required statement is in this message dot value is again a global variable that store the amount, the initial amount that you need for executing this function, right? So here the message dot value should be greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then it's fine. Otherwise, it display a error message. Contribution must be greater than 0, like this, right? Next, so this is done. When it is greater than 0, that means you can good to go and make contribution in this campaign. So for that, we have variables contributions, and we have to maintain the two variables. First one is your contribute, update this one, right? So that we can maintain the information of the user, that from which from this address we have got this much amount, right? So for that I have used this mapping. And then second variable is total contributions. We keep on calculating the total amount we have achieved so far, right? So that we can check for the goal as well. So first one is your contributions. right? So for contributions, and for that first one is your message dot sender, as key value is your message with address, and here you're contributing, so we can use, you can also contribute later on, so that's why I'm using this plus equal to sign, so that it's add-on values, right. And next is your total contribution. So total contribution is for that as well, we use the same message dot value, just keep on adding the things, right? And we need to check one more thing, that if total contribution it's achieved, that means we after this, the after this amount, if we have achieved our goal, then we have to set the funding goal reach as true. That means we have reached our goal. Total contributions is greater than or equal to goal, then it means is funding goal reach should be true. We achieved what we want, right? What we wanted in the starting. Now, next, moving forward, next is your withdraw function. And in this withdraw function, just make this very function as public, and only creator can call this function, because he's the creator is the one who created this campaign, and at the end he can withdraw all the funds. For withdraw funds only, first we check whether we have achieved the goal or not, or campaign is closed, deadline, we have achieved goal or deadline is passed or not, right? These two conditions we need to check. Then we transfer all amount, the total contribution, to the creator account, right? So first two statement should be like this, that is funding goal reached. If it is true, then it's fine. Otherwise, funding goal triggered, right? Next statement is saying as this. It's campaign closed. So for that, we need this is campaign closed. If it is not closed, then just display. We can, if it is closed, then it's fine. We can withdraw the funds. Otherwise, campaign, we have to display this error message, right? Next is your after checking both these details, so is funding goal reached is true, that means if it is true, then we can execute rest of the statement, and otherwise we just display funding goal not reached. And is campaign close in the starting is false, so that's why I use this exclamation mark. It is true now, that means campaign is closed. Right, so it's done, and you just close this campaign by making it true, because the our first task is, because campaign should not be closed, before that we need to withdraw the funds, right? So we use a payable and the address of this creator, and we use this transfer function for transfer the total contribution, transfer and total contributions, like this. So this is how we can achieve all this thing, that, right? So first one is your withdraw function, and creator can close the campaign using close and after deadline on when the close. So last function is remaining, that close campaign function. So function close campaign. Make this as public, and only creator can execute this function. And in this, we check whether the deadline is reached or not by using the block dot timestamp. If it is greater than the deadline, sorry, If it is greater than the deadline, then deadline is over. Otherwise, we just display or and you can use both the conditions here, and is funding goal reached, right? If both true, then fine. Otherwise, campaign not yet closed. Display this message, and if it is done, just make this as true for closing this campaign, right? Now this is done. This is a easy function. Now next function is get contract balance, and in this make this function as public, and because it is just returning the value, so it should be the view. It returns uint because it shows you the contract balance. So for that, we just need a return statement here. Like this, and returning the address of this trust balance, address of this contract got balance. Balance is again a global variable, right? So all the functionalities are done and there is no error message yet. So I hope you understood each and every function that we did in this, right? So next is compile this. Just compile, it's compiled, right? Next, execute this function. Now for execution, you have to check the constructor. You need a goal, that how much amount of, that means amount or contribution you wanted from this campaign, right? So for that, I need 10 ether, and deadline should be of 1 day. So let's just deploy it. So it is deployed. As you can see, we have a success in the transaction. It's done. Thank God. Next, now I want to contribute in this. So I'm just changing the address from here, and I want to execute this function. So just execute this function. The contribution must be greater than 0. So whenever you execute this contribute, so message.value should be greater than 0. So that's why you just write down certain value here. So it is done now, right? Now let's make more contribution by using different accounts, and the value should be 3 here. So just contribute is done. Just check the balance. So contract balance is 5 because I made 2 contributions and the deadline is 10, right? Now if the contract for example, if the owner wants to close this campaign, so let's close this campaign. So it shows a error message that campaign is not closed yet because we have not achieved the deadline of 1 day. Obviously, that's day is not passed already, but we have the goal as well 10. So this is how you can work, and you can just check the different functions. Deadline is this. This is a decimal representation, right? And this is the address of the contribution. And there's a withdraw function if your funding goal is not reached. It shows the error message. So that's all from my side. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a nice day.